Good morning. This is June the 7th, Friday, 2024. We are in BBA second semester, section B, compulsory English class. In the previous class, I sat down here and I dictated some questions and I invited you to read the paragraphs under the section titled Cross-Cultural Conflict Interaction Styles. Let me write here. Cross-cultural conflict interaction styles. So, I want to know how many of you have read this section. Please raise your hand if you have read this section at home. Nobody? That's not a good thing. Okay. So see the word. Cross-cultural. So when you say cross-cultural, do you mean within one culture or within more than one culture? What do you think? Within one? Cross-cultural means within one or more than one? What do you think? More than one. So cross-cultural means more than one. Let me draw a line. So in the first section, which was titled as Cultural Variability Perspective, you read that we can think of a continuum. We can think of a continuum, a continuous line, as you can see over there. And then you can group all the cultures of the world into two orientations, into two categories. What are they? What are they? Someone? What are the two categories or two major orientations of cultures around the world? Individualistic and collectivistic. Let me write. Individualistic cultures and collectivistic cultures. Can you give me an example of a major individualistic culture, for example? Name which country do you think is a major individualistic culture? USA. Okay. Let's in bracket write an example. USA. Can you give me the name of a major collectivistic culture, for example? Japan. Okay. Now, Both of these cultures have the concept of the self, right? They have the concept of the self. So, what is the concept of the self in individualistic cultures? What do they think about the self? Is the self dependent or independent? Independent. Okay, that's right. What is the concept of the self in collectivist cultures? Dependent, right? Interdependent. Or let me write, yeah. Interdependent or connected self, right? Now, this section, which is titled Cross-Cultural Conflict Interaction Styles. So, what do you think this section will talk? It will be, you said that this section will probably talk about the individualistic cultures and compare it or them with the collectivistic cultures, right? Cross-cultural. What is conflict? What is conflict? Disagreement about what? Conflict is disagreement about what? In intercultural communication, conflict is what? Incompatibility of values. Incompatibility of values. For example, for the individualistic culture with the concept of the independent self, they will say, if I have a problem, it's my job to solve my problem. I should not depend upon other people. Whereas, if you have interdependent or interconnected concept of self, you will think, I have a problem, I should share it with my friend, classmates, family, and I should seek help from them. Right? So, what is conflict? Incompatibility of values, beliefs, and cultural practices. The difference in the way people do things. Right? Okay. Now, next word is interaction style. What is interaction style? What do you understand by the word interaction style? अहिले म तपाईलाई हेरिरहेको छु कि अनि म ठुलो ठुलो आँखाले हेरिरहेको छु नि त हैन अनि म सबै अनुहारलाई हेरिरहेको छु अनि मैले एउटा काम के गरिरहेको छु थाहा छ सबैको फेस हेरिरहेको छु अनि मैले दिमागमा के आइरहेछ भने को फ्रेस देखिनुहुन्छ र को फ्रेस देखिनुहुन्न अनि कसैलाई मैले फ्रेस देखिन भने मलाई प्रश्न के आइरहेछ कि अर्ली मर्निङ तपाई किन फ्रेस देखिनु भएको छैन एज अ टिचर मलाई यो जिज्ञासा आउँछ कि 1920 को युथहरु क्लासमा आउँदाखेरि किन फ्रेस देखिन्न किन टायर्ड देखिन्छ किन स्लीपी देखिन्छ When I teach, I can't help doing this. It's impossible to avoid it. We are human beings. हामी पढाउँदै हेर्छौँ त्यसरी हेर्छु कुशललाई हेरेँ यिनलाई हेरेँ यिनलाई हेरेँ हेर्दै जान्छु नि त हैन अनि फेस हेरिरहेको हुन्छु अनि पढाइरहेको बेला दिमागमा आउँछ यो विद्यार्थी किन लेजी देखिएको यो विद्यार्थी किन चाहिँ अल्छी देखिएको यो विद्यार्थी किन चाहिँ ननिराश देखिया छ यो विद्यार्थी किन चाहिँ लेजी देखिया छ यो विद्यार्थी किन इनर्जीलेस देखिया छ अर्ली मर्निङ भन्ने हुन्छ कि एन्ड आई डोन्ट नो द रिजन I don't know the reason. I try my best to look full of energy when I come to a class. I try Yesterday I was lazy, right? I sat on a chair yesterday. Okay, leave that. So, what is interaction style? The way two people interact. The way two people interact. Right now in this class, I am the actor and you are the co-actor. I am the speaker, you are the listener. The door is open. यसोले बाहिर हेरेर कोही हिँडिरहेछ नि त होइन, साथी हुन्छ पल्लो क्लासको, उसले बाहिरबाट जिस्काइदिन्छ अनि ध्यान डिस्ट्र्याक्सन हुन्छ नि. So it's better to close the door, होइन? Let's close the door. हाम्रो ध्यान भङ्ग गर्ने धेरै मानिसहरू छन् होइन, हामीले बिगार्न खोज्ने धेरै मानिसहरू छन्, राइट? विश्वामित्रको कथा त सुने होला नि, विश्वामित्र र रम्भा भन्ने कथा सुनेको छैन? विश्वामित्रले तपस्या गर्दै हुनुहुन्थ्यो, इन्द्रले एउटा रम्भा भन्ने युवती पठाइदिए, यसको तपस्या बिगार्दै उहाँ. तपाईँहरू पनि त्यस्तै पर्नुहोला फेरि रम्भाहरूको जालमा र पढ्ने तपस्या बिग्रिएला. I'm sorry to have given such an example. I'm sorry. My simple point is, do not distract yourself from attention, right? I'm sorry. Don't take it negatively. Okay. So, now this section, what it does is, it compares and contrasts individualistic cultures and the collectivistic cultures on some grounds. तपाईं हिजो पनि ढिला आउनुभएको थियो, आज पनि ढिला आउनुभयो रुसा बहिनी. आउनुहोस्, के भयो बा ढिला हुनलाई? किन ढिला आयो कि भन न. त्यही त मैले जान केले गर्दा भयो भनेको कि आफै भयो, निदायो, टाइममै उठेथ्यौ. ल जाऊ यताबाट जाऊ तारेर है. अनि हुन्छ कहिलेकाहीँ जीवन हो, अल्छी लाग्छ, कहिले जान मन लाग्दैन, कहिले बोर हुन्छ, कहिले काम हुन्छ होइन. तर हामीले ह्याबिट के बनाउनु पर्छ भने, कुनै पनि जस्तै तपाईँकोमा आज ढिला आएको थिइनँ है, आज म ढिला आएको थिइनँ, म 2 मिनट अगाडि आएको थिएँ. कलेजमा चाहिँ 7 मिनट अगाडि आएको थिएँ, राइट? कहिलेकाहीँ मलाई ढिला हुन्छ, तर धेरै ढिला आउनु राम्रो होइन. ओके, सो they compare and contrast two cultures. So this paragraph or this section is written in comparison, contrast mode of writing. This is comparison contrast mode of writing, right? And what are they comparing? What are they comparing? They are comparing, let's make a question. What question does this whole section answer? The question is, how do the individualistic and the collectivistic cultures behave, how do they behave in a conflict situation? This is the question which these paragraphs answer. And this essay is a point by point comparison. This is a point by point comparison. For example, first in number 1, the writer compares how both cultures use verbal messages when there is a conflict. How do they use verbal messages? Then, for example, they talk about how they use silence in conflicting situations. Now, Divakar Sir will not teach and explain any further. I won't tell anything now. Your job is be in pairs, two people. Be in pairs, two people. Read these sections. Read these sections from para 1. I'll go around the class. And your job is write down the points of comparison. Hello? Write down the points of comparison. Then write down how do the individualistic cultures use that point, and how do the collectivistic cultures use that point. This is all about this section. To say in Nepali, I won't speak Nepali. So this section compares how people from individualistic cultures and the collectivistic cultures interact or behave or respond when they are in a conflict situation. And this point by point comparison uses issues like how do they use verbal message and non-verbal communication and non-verbal communication. How do they use silence and speech, etc. Now I want you to work in pairs. Tapai uसँग जानुस्, तपाई उसँग जानुस्, तपाई तीनजना सँगै काम गर्नुस्, तपाई दुईजना सँगै काम गर्नुस्, तपाई तीनजना काम गर्नुस्, तपाई दुईजना, तपाई दुईजना. र we have 35 minutes. We have 35 minutes. I won't be teaching you this section anymore. And I'll go around the class. You read the section and call me for help if you don't know anything. Please call me for help if you don't know anything. Now your job is complete this chart. And I give you 25 minutes. Last 10 minutes, I will call some of you and you will write on the whiteboard. Last 10 minutes, I will call some of you and you will write on the whiteboard. Your time starts now. Okay, work in pair. First read carefully, and you find out, for example, where is the section? In a conflict situation, individuals typically rely heavily on direct request. Now write down over there. Point 1, they rely on direct request. They rely on direct verbal justification. They rely on upfront clarification. So these items will go that side. Did you get my point? Yes. Now if you go down, now in contrast, see the language of comparison. See the language of comparison. In contrast, when you compare and contrast, what is the language? In contrast. Now the collectivistic, now write that this side and move like that. काम गर्नुस्, काम छिटो छिटो super fast. के गर्ने बुझेन अरे यत्रो बेर बुझाएर अनि के गर्ने बुझेन भन्छ. ओके लिसन टु मी. यहाँ चाहिँ दुईटा कल्चर बिचमा कम्प्यारिजन गरेछ. कुन दुई खालको कल्चर? इन्डिभिजुअलिस्टिक कल्चर र कलेक्टिभिस्ट कल्चरको बारेमा कम्प्यारिजन गरेछ. For example, look in the very beginning, it says individuals typically rely heavily on direct request. Now write under that, this section. They rely on direct verbal justification, upfront clarification to defend their actions and decisions. And now, in contrast, see the comparison. How do you compare two things? So you write the language like in contrast. In contrast, collectivists typically use qualifiers. They use disclaimers, they use indirect request, they use, okay, these are things, right? Then, to make point, conflict facing threatening situation. From the collectivistic orientation, it is up to the interpreter of the message how to pick up the hidden. Read it, and then...
Difference, not really here.
Difference. How do these people behave? How do these people behave? Are you working?
Yes, sir.
If you need my help, call me. Read it. One friend can read and suggest points. Another friend can note down. One friend can read, or you can read together and note down. I'm coming. Just a minute. Yes, who called me?
This is correct, sir. This is correct.
Okay, good. Write point by point. A, B, C, D, 1, 2, 3, 4. Break down into points.
So here 1 point and we can...
Yeah. Individualistic ideas, write this side. Collectivist, write this side.
This can be this long.
Huh?
It is okay to be this long.
Cultures rely on heavily on direct request. Just you लेख्नु परेन. Just direct request 1, direct verbal justification 2, upfront clarification 3, defend their actions on this. यो पनि परेन यसरी गर्ने के.
हाम्रो डिफरेन्स लेख्दाखेरि अनि यसको सबै पोइन्टको डिफरेन्स यहाँ नहोला भनेर ल्याङ्ग्वेज एउटा ल्याङ्ग्वेज
प्राय सबैको छ हेर्दै जाऊ छ. उसले दुवै कम्पेयर गर्छ. For every point, the writer talks about both cultures. हरेक point मैले दुवैको कुरा गर्छ. He describes, I'm not sure, the writer describes individualistic cultural behavior, and then instantly, same paragraph, she compares with other culture. And she brings the case of USA for clarifying individualistic behavior, and she brings example of Japan to explain collectivistic behavior. Huh?
My person is remaining. Then I will do.
When we finish this? You'll do when we finish this one. Today or tomorrow? We don't know. Let's see if we can finish. Maybe you can't get time today, I guess. So if you see the first paragraph, if you have read, the question that they answer in first paragraph is, let me write here, how do they defend their actions and decisions? This is the question they answer. How do both cultures defend their actions and decisions. For example, the individualistic culture, they make direct request. They make direct verbal justification. They offer upfront clarifications. Whereas collectivist cultures do not make direct request, do not make direct verbal justification, do not use upfront clarification. What do? They use qualifiers. What is qualifier? An expression that shows limitation of a statement. If I say all students passed, it's an unqualified statement. But if I say some students passed, this is a qualified student, limited. And the qualifier is some. Qualifier is some. So when you say he is qualified, you mean his ability is limited. He cannot do everything. When you say I am qualified, people say he can do anything. No. If I say I am qualified, I mean I can do certain things only. I am trained for certain things only. I cannot do everything. Okay. They use qualifiers. Here is an example. Look here. Perhaps we should meet this deadline together. Then they use tag questions. Don't you think we might not have enough time? Then they use disclaimer. I am probably wrong, but they use tangential responses. Let's not worry about that now. They use indirect questions. If it won't be too much trouble, let's try to finish this report together. Right? Then again go down. Now what does it say? The individualist makes their gesture, and now it's up to the collectivist, for example, to interpret the message and respond their own way. Now go below, look here again. See the language. In addition. When do you use in addition? When you want to add a further detail. See the language of comparison here. First you have, like for example, in contrast. Do you see the language? In line number 1, 2, 3, 4, we have the word in contrast. Language of comparison. If you go below, it says in addition. You want to add more point. When there is intense conflict situation, what do collectivists believe? That if there is conflict, speak less. नेपालीमा भन्छ नि, झगडा पर्यो भने मुखमा पानी हाल्नुस् र ननिलिकन बस्नुस् 5 मिनेट, झगडा शान्त हुन्छ भन्छ. के भनेको त्यो? दिस इज द पोइन्ट. कन्फ्लिक्ट भयो भने मुखमा पानी हाल्नुस्, पानी ननिल्नुस्. अब बोल्न मिलेन नि त. तपाईँ बोल्नु भएन भने अर्को पार्टी पनि शान्त हुन्छ नि त. हामी कहाँ त सम्झायो भने एकछिन नबोल भन्छ नि. In individualistic culture, it's not nabola. It's timro kura kyo bola. It's timro kura kyo bola. It's not nabola. Right? So what do they think? In our culture, they believe that if you use verbal messages in an intense conflict situation, it will compound the problem. It will make the problem worse. That's why we say in our culture, when there is quarrel, we say, please keep silent. Have you seen? They say, keep silent, right? So then, see another word, however. Where do you use however? You use however to show contrast. To show contrast. Look, however, by not using verbal means to explain or clarify decision, collectivists are often viewed as inscrutable. So when the collectivists do not use verbal words, the individualists think that, oh, these guys are very mysterious. you never know what thinking they have. They never speak. Look, the writer compares the individualistic culture and the collectivistic culture regarding how they defend their actions and decisions, and says that individualistic cultures use direct request, direct verbal justification, upfront clarification, whereas collectivistic cultures use qualifiers, tag questions, disclaimers, indirect requests, and collectivist cultures avoid verbal response. They avoid verbal response. They say stay silent. They prefer maintaining silence when there is conflict. Now go to second paragraph, read like this. I won't help you more. I just gave you an example how to read. You always expect me to explain everything, right? Why should I explain you everything? So in the first paragraph, the question the writer answers is, how do these two cultures, let's say, behave, or how do these two cultures defend their actions and decisions? And if you go to the next paragraph, for example, second paragraph, can somebody tell me what is the point of comparison in second paragraph? Silence. So first paragraph compares how the two cultures use verbal message. Second paragraph compares how the two cultures regard silence. How do they regard silence? कति लेख्नु भयो? धेरै लेखिसक्नु पर्यो. एउटा दुवै लेख्नु पर्दैन, तर एउटा चाहिँ लेजी बस्यो भने म गाली गर्छु फेरि. उले मात्रै पढ्ने, उले मात्रै लेख्ने गरेर हुँदैन. One can read, one can write. What's going on here? You're writing? Good. Good, wonderful. Go paragraph wise. Keep busy, keep your work.
Articulate one's emotion.
So how do the collectivists look at silence? They take silence as self-discipline. In our culture, staying calm, composed, silent is a sign of self-discipline. when you make noise, I might say, you don't have discipline. हाम्रो कल्चरमा भन्छ नि विद्यार्थीले हल्ला गर्यो भने डिसिप्लिन छैन भन्छ नि चुप लाग भन्छ नि so चुप लाग्नु is sign of discipline चुप लाग्नु is sign of there is a song चुप लाग चुप चुप right have you heard this song or it's a poem I don't know so what is the point silence in our culture which is collectivistic culture is seen as a sign of self discipline. Now, look the comparison. See the language. On the other hand, when you compare two things, what phrases do you use? On the other hand. What phrases? हाम्रो याज्ञवल्क्यजी आज आलस्य मान्नु भएको छ उहाँको आँखा हेर्दा पुरा निद्रामा लागे जस्तो छ त्यस्तो छ हो निद्रा लागेको छ आलस्य लागेको छ त्यस्तो लाग्यो कि मैले हेर्दाखेरि ठिक छौ नि फ्रेस छौ नि रिसायो कि भन्यो मलाई ओके सो हेलो नाउ टेल मी समवन how do the individuals regard silence? How do they regard? If you remain silent in an American class in front of the teacher, what will they think? Silence is viewed as, hello? What is the meaning of silence in American culture? What is the meaning of silence in American culture? Admission of guilt and incompetence. Admission of guilt and incompetence. Right? Now look. See the phrase, in addition. Look at me. When you want to add an idea, what is the phrase used? In addition. Look again. Open emotional expression is viewed as a signal of caring in American culture. If you show emotional expression during conflict, they think you care. You care, right? Now, okay, move ahead. Proper emotional composure, emotional self-restraint. Look, in collectivist culture, look, in American culture, in individualistic culture, emotional expression is seen as symbol of caring. Whereas in collectivistic culture, emotional expression is shown as sign of immaturity. Sign of immaturity. If you become too emotional and start shedding tears, they will think you are not mature, you are not courageous, or you are childish. And collectivistic cultures emphasize on what? Emotional composure. What is that? Don't show emotions. Don't show emotions. Emotional self-restraint. Control your anger. Control your fear. Control your nervousness. Control your jealousy. Control your envy. Right? Okay, now move ahead. Again, you have an example. What example? Okabe compares American culture and Japanese culture. American culture is more individualistic. अब मैले केले महसुस गरिरहेको छु मैले एक्सप्लेन गर्दाखेरि फर इक्जाम्पल लुनाले सुनिरहेको छैन फर इक्जाम्पल हैन उले सुनिरहेको ऊ आफ्नै संसारमा छ कि अनि मलाई के लाग्छ यसरी टिचरले एक्सप्लेन गर्यो भने लर्निङ हुँदैन कि तपाईले सुन्नुहुन्न सो आई वोन्ट एक्सप्लेन यु डु अन योर ओन आई वोन्ट एक्सप्लेन डु अन योर ओन
सर मलाई एउटा कन्फ्लिक्ट आइडिया भएन नराम्रो नभन्नु होइन
भन न
तर तपाईँले हामीलाई भन्नुभयो कि म पढाउँदैन भन्नुभयो होइन त्यसपछि भन्नुभयो हजुरहरू आफै बनाउनु गर्नु अनि प्रेजेन्ट गर्न आउनु त्यसपछि तपाईँ बिच
हो
आफै पढाउनुहुन्छ
हो हो
अनि हामी जुन यहाँ पुरा यस्तो फोकस मोडमा रिड गर्छौँ होइन अनि तपाईँको बिच बिचमा त्यही भएर हामी टपिकबाट बाहिर निस्किरहेको छौँ फेरि घुस्छौँ
यु आर भेरी राइट यो किन भइरहेछ म वाच गरिरहेको हुन्छु कि अनि मेरो मनमा के हुन्छ गर्न सकेन कि गर्न भन्ने भइरहेछ कि अनि त्यो गर्न सकेन भन्ने भएपछि त्यो भनिदिनु पर्ने हो कि त्यस्तो भयो कि अब तिमीले क्ल्यारिफाई गर्यो अब यहाँ फरक के छ सबै एउटै लेभलमा त छैन ग्रुपमा तिमी गरिरहेछौ कतै नगराइ हुनसक्छ अनि अब तिमीले यो भनेपछि के हुन्छ अब म एक्सन गर्दिनँ तर भइ किन यस्तो भइरहेछ आई फिल सकेन कि भइरहेको हुन्छ कि गो अन उसलाई हेरेँ एक्सप्लेन गरिरहेको थिएँ मलाई इम्प्रेसन के भयो उसले सुनेन भन्ने भयो कि अनि मलाई के भयो एक्सप्लेन गरेर काम छैन सुन्दैन भन्ने भयो अनि मैले भनिहालेँ नि त होइन त्यस्तो हुन्छ ल ठिक छ गर ल अब म एक्सप्लेन गर्दिनँ आई विल एक्सप्लेन ओन्ली इफ यु कल मी है आई विल एक्सप्लेन ओन्ली टु दोज ग्रुप्स विच कल मी फर हेल्प
We are writing and discussing.
ओके At the end of the class, your page should have a lot of ideas, eh? That should show you have read it. Yagival, how are you contributing in your group?
I'm contributing.
Nothing, sir.
Nothing. Oh, that's not good. Look, they said you're not doing anything. That's not good, right? के चाहिँ गर्नु पर्यो नि बाबु पढेर भन्नु पर्यो नि अल्छी गरेर कहाँ हुन्छ Look, you haven't underlined anything. यहाँ गरेर रहेछ ल Make sure that you see, I'll blame the whole group if you fail to make the points. Sitting lazily, I feel like you're doing nothing.
They tend to use more competitive strategy with more members and in groups than out. And they tend to use less competitive strategy.
Less competitive, more cooperative. त्यही छ त त्यही पढ त जहाँ यो दिइरहेछ नि ठ्याक्कै त्यही नेक्स्ट उसले कुरा गर्छ यहाँनिर तिमीले यो कुरा पोइन्ट पढ्यौ नि त्यही सर हेर्छौ त उसले इन कन्ट्रास्टमा भन्छ त्यही छ त या हो collectivist cultures are cooperative in conflict They are not competitive. Take her away, call me for help, right? The writer beautifully summarizes the points at the end of the section. As if you see carefully, he presents the whole points to again as a summary at the end.